It's Chillmonger with the comic book review of last week, I guess it is now, a little bit late. Let's start from the top. Best comic of the week was Avengers No Road Home. This had it all. This had the smart writing. I'll highlight that first. The way that they operated with Scarlet Witch losing her eyes. You know, I thought that we already had the payoff to that part of the story. Oh, she's blind now, and the villain is using her eye in her sight. Oh, okay. There's more to it. So Spectrum's power is to turn into energy. It was neural energy, neural light that she became. And because of that, she could see Scarlet Witch's thoughts. And with the help of the two of them combined, they were able to cast this spell. I don't even remember what the spell was. I was just so in awe of Al Ewing. And you know this was Al Ewing's writing, that genius. Jim Zub's a smart dude too, and Mark Waid's probably smart also. But I'm going to give credit to Al Ewing for making the scenario happen using neural energy. I like when smart writers write smart characters and smart scenarios. It makes me feel smarter than I already am. That's like the main part of it. The book, I'll give it a 9 out of 10. We got a sick moment with Hulk smash. That's all I asked for in my Hulk. And I have been criticizing the Immortal Hulk for it being something that I don't like. Hulk smash, we got it. Cracked the man's neck. And at the end, the final page reveal was, I'm assuming you've all read the comic, spoiler alert. It was Conan. And I'm not familiar with him. I never cared about Conan because other than Gwen Stacy, Earth 616 is where I reside. So if I find a character from another dimension or something, I don't give a shit. Conan's back. Oh, Jason Aaron? Still don't care, even though he's my favorite writer. He is my favorite writer. So I feel like now that he's in the thing, it's like, alright, whatever. It could have been a 10 out of 10 if they stuck that landing. If it was like Wolverine or someone who I actually like. But I really liked this comic book. And there's that thing about misdirection. Like, he understands the characters, all three of these dudes. The next one is a book I didn't quite like, which is Shuri. We go to Brooklyn, where we see Miles Morales Spider-Man, who she just calls Spider-Man, and they kind of have a moment of, we both are under the shadows of what's his name? Her being T'Challa, him being Peter Parker, and Peter Parker. He's very aware of the criticisms that he always gets. He even says, I got props from the main head honcho Spider-Man. I guess he's talking about the ultimate one. Unless there's a story where normal Peter Parker gives him the okay. I don't know. Probably is. But, yeah, probably they probably did that. Still doesn't work. Like, they're calling him the second Spider for the second time in a comic book this month, in this book. So, Second Spider seems like a cool name. I would go with Brooklyn Spider. If I was writing Miles Morales, I'd have him lose his mom, lose his dad, lose his uncle, lose everyone. Alright, no more need for a secret identity. It's not even like this is my universe. I'm just gonna be Spider-Miles. And that's the way I'd go, because Peter Parker is Spider-Man. The black hole was defective because of a little thing that she did. Oh yeah, there was a moment where someone says, please, you have to help Jim. And Shuri asks, who is Jim? Of course. They should have just said, you gotta help my friend, period. You can't just say Jim like everyone's gonna know who Jim is. There's a new writer on this book. I'm gonna give it a 3 out of 10. No, I'm not being too harsh on it. I really don't like the art. 3 out of 10 is the correct score. And I just remembered Ms. Marvel's gonna be in the next issue. And they're facing a villain who I've never heard of, called Gravitron. Maybe I have heard of him and read him before, but he hasn't left a mark on me. The next one is something I am enjoying. It's Ghost Spider, issue number 6, Legacy 46. Hey, good ass writing, good ass job doing this book. It starts with the police commissioner. He's on leave, and it said on the word box that he's a permanent assignment with his daughter, and I laughed at that for real. Like, that was good. She had a talk with her dad about the getting paid. She comes clean and says, I received money for this. He's not about it, but it was like a couple pages long, and they got on with the story. I appreciated that, because we could linger on this. When real talks, we know she's gonna get money again, think about it again. No Tim Hortons today. It's just water and a coffee. I started saving money by doing that. But with this service that she has, kind of like Tinder, well, it's not Tinder as she says, because someone actually wants to hit on her and meet her on a date. She's like, what? No, it's not a dating app. But someone actually did call her, and it was a trap. It's a trap. She was lured by some dudes with a crowbar, and for some reason they got the better of her. Where she said she was receiving a headache and she needed aspirin. She was gone, so she was like sick. She said so. She after the fight happened, she blacks out. No one knows what happened. So we'll get an answer to that in the next issue. A little bit of suspense, a little bit of mystery. That's always cool. She has to call up Harry Osborn. Harry, can you help me out? And he kind of gives her a ride. I think these two are gonna be a couple in Earth 65. It's kind of weird because we even had Jameson in this issue talking about Peter Parker, which is strange, right? Because traditionally, for a long time, Jameson has been anti-Spider-Man and all that stuff. I mean, now in Amazing Spider-Man, he's all on his good side, but Peter Parker is dead in this universe. Oh, remember what I said about Conan, about how I hated that he's in another universe, so I'm never going to read it? This I will read, because like the first 3 issues were Spider-Geddon, when she's connected with everyone in 616. She will always be coming back to 616, and one day this universe will die, and when they're done telling all these funny stories that they can with what's the name of the villains in this comic book? Man-Wolf. She'll be done with them, and then she'll be part of our universe. Man-Wolf does say keep an eye on her, and we can give her a few days to fail. Like, something's up. It only gets worse, but so far we're focusing on the relationship stuff with Harry, relationship stuff with her dad, and her powers. And the last page was just a panel rather than the splash page traditionally. I will give this book an 8 out of 10. Since I'm talking about Spider-Man, Amazing Spider-Man number 17 was cool. I like the way it was 30 pages long and costed $4.99. I like the way Spider-Man kind of powered himself up. That classic, remember after Steve Ditko passed and they had that page that was on every other comic book about Spider-Man just muscling his way up? It was kind of more of the same. I learned something about Steve Ditko and how he likes to draw hands. Who was the YouTuber who told me this? But he said that hands can tell a story just as much as the face can, right? And if you're properly drawing them, you could do your thing with them. Like Doctor Strange made this logo, and Spider-Man had Thwip, and it made sense when I saw that video. I would recommend it. I have no idea where you can find it. So the hunter, Kraven, the son, serves up Spider-Man and wins, uses some gas also. The older Kraven, Dr. Karvanov, that dude is like, he's dead. He's on his way out, because they still have not named Mini Kraven, meaning he will take the mantle of his dad. And we're gonna be there's even a worse Kraven. So the book culminates with all the Spider people and another blackout. Spider-Man blacked out in this one. And he comes back to his senses. Black uniform with the white spider logo, and he's trapped in Central Park under a dome with every single animal-based villain. Black Cat's there. I saw someone with 3 claws. Couldn't have been Wolverine, but I know Wolverine is an animal. If you know, please help me out in the comment section. I'm not a Spider-Man reader, a big one, but there was every animal that you're used to. I saw Rhino, who he's got beef with since the issue that Chris Bichelho drew, where he abandoned Rhino to save Aunt May. All the villains were up in there. It was a great little story. I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10. And Tony Stark, Iron Man, was a collaborated effort by Dan Slott and Jim Zub. Jim Zub, that's cool. He writes the Champions. I should probably pick this up because, look, we get the Champions up in there. Look, there's Ironheart, Ms. Marvel's on the page, and Wasp, and Miles. And then they're not on any other page afterwards. Didn't like this comic book. They did the thing with the classic arts, which I did not much appreciate. Like, it was cool in the X-Men annual for the story that they were telling with Cyclops. But it's 2019, and there's a reason why I, a new comic book reader for only a year now, decided when I went on my Marvel Unlimited app to learn about Marvel, I only said anything from 2000 and onwards, because I can't stand that old, even that Christopher Priest 99 run with that old art that looked new and old at the same time. You know the art. Couldn't do it. I just said, yo, 2000s, that's it. That was actually the comic that made me choose. It was like, okay, I'm gonna start with Black Panther. They say Christopher Priest is not for me. I'm gonna go to Reginald Hudlin instead. So he didn't drink. Arm got swiped away. So much for Demon in a Bottle, which is a storyline I'm familiar with because of a Comics Explained video, not because I actually read it. Cliche Russian spy that wants his family fortune. The motherboard escape loves Tony. So that's another cliche that I wasn't feeling, where it's the machine who wants... when he reconstituted every cell in his body, which we saw in number 600, everything real might be gone. You know, where's the soul, all that stuff. That was interesting to me. There's a reason why I'm not giving this comic book a 0. I'm giving this book a 2 out of 10. His virtual mother wants what's best for him. And cliche. I couldn't say I liked it. The best part was when I saw Ironheart, because I was wondering when she would show back up in his books. Technically, they haven't... Yo, those two characters... Sorry, I don't care about Tony Stark. Ironheart and Iron Man haven't spoken to each other really since issue 600. I know he nicknamed her the Ironheart as an artificial intelligence, so maybe he don't even remember that's why she's called the Ironheart. Tony Stark and Riri need to give me something, man. Give me a Marvel team up, just some one shot that just explains where they're standing at. Next comic book I want to review is X-23. This was a quality book. They cornered the scientist, but he still escapes, even though during the fight sequence with all the multiple robots and stuff, it looked good with the artwork. There was a funny line by Gabby where she says, "Give me back my sister's sisters." They named her X-Blaster, and X-Blaster does this heroic blast all the way up to the helicopter that Laura was in. I got this, don't worry. Sacrifices X-Blaster's self, which is cool because X-23 is already a clone of Wolverine, and she's got a mini-me in Gabby, in Honey Badger. I did not need the robot of a Laura. That would have been too much for me. So it looks like they are out. The last page had the word Scout on the notepad. I don't know what that reference is. I've only started picking up X-23 the last 3 issues. I'm not sure what Scout means. Comment section, fill me in. Book gets a 7. No, I'll bump that up to an 8. No, that's a 7. I gotta be honest, because when I call this a 7, it makes the 8s like Ghost Spider and X-Force, which I'm about to review next, more important. X-Force, pretty good book, despite the problems I've been having with the artist and the drawing. This was part 4 of 4. They made it very clear that it would be that. Deathlock gets his probability thing taken away from Ahab, and yo, he's not dead, by the way. His last words to Cable was, "I was unable to locate her." He's talking about Rachel Summers. And there's a moment in here where they call Tabitha Smith Tab, T-A-B. I love it. You know how I don't like a lot of words on the pages. The smaller that speech bubble is, the more I can appreciate the art. And it provides that family kind of, we call each other by nicknames. One syllable shit is the way to go. One syllables. Maybe I'm focusing too long on that, but it means a lot to me. And Domino says it. Domino's the leader of this team. It's made clear now. And this is, the 4th book now of this issue, of this series. Cool. Legacy 234. Huh? Legacy? You can't legacy an X-Force. They split the team and recreate them all over again. You can't legacify that, in my opinion. If you disagree, comment section. Now, President. Oh yeah, there was this moment when they're trying to save the kids, X-Force. I think Cannonball's the one who says, "Get in the van." But they don't speak English. Yo, this means get in the van. It's universal. Funny, I laughed. I smiled. I don't want to lie. I smiled when I read that. Now, I saw the president putting on that suit, and he turns into a, Iron Man, kind of got the fishbowl thing going on. I'm like, yeah, it is part 4 of 4. We're going to find the conclusion of the story. He fights with Ahab. There's like a supervillain fight for a little bit of the time. That's kind of cool. The book culminates... Well, the old president has said he's put many through time travel to kind of save these mutants through the time portal. The old president, he was always thinking, we can preserve it, they're the future. Good job. But with the new president, he's not about that life. He's like a villain and he wants to kill mutants. except for his son, who's a mutant, who he wants this cure from being a mutant. He's effed up, but he's a villain. He's allowed to be effed up. I'm good with like Thanos in Avengers Infinity War. He's effed up. Damn, the neighbors. I'm gonna power through. Sorry. So Warpath dies at the end of this comic book. But, I mean, Deathlock died too, right? So, okay, we'll see how that plays out. I hope to see Rachel Summers. I think that's what the next arc will be focused on. The next book is Dead Man Logan. I'll be short. There was a blackbird that went missing during the mission. Mysterio pulls a trick on some of the Hydra agents, and that was cool. That he did basically what Old Man Logan did to kill his people. He kind of did that same trick on them, which I appreciated. And that's it for Mysterio. Dead Man Logan. That picture with the shunk with the words that looked really cool. The way that they just offed him. Is he really dead? It's comic books, and this is part 4 of. No, it was part 5 or 6 of 12. And they got a lot more story to go. I'm gonna give this comic book a 7 out of 10. I really enjoyed it. That was all my books. I did review Ms. Marvel, and that's got its own comic book review on my channel, Chillmonger. Thank you for watching on this Wednesday morning, and the neighbors.